Welcome back to One Foot In. I'm Ohana, he's Winn, and we're back on camera. Man, it feels good. It feels good. I'm sure it feels even better for you, all of you, to see our faces.
Salivating.
You probably missed it. Probably woke up on Friday not knowing what to do with yourselves.
It was my fault. I'm sorry.
Listen.
My sincerest apologies. It won't happen again. But we back.
We don't blame people on OFI.
We blame teams.
We
don't blame each other.
We don't blame each other. We figure things out.
We're
problem solvers.
Dude, we are awesome.
We are awesome.
We're awesome.
As they say. You know who else is awesome?
Who else is awesome, dude?
The Big Ten's Big Three.
The Big Ten is lit. You know what
phenomenal.
The best part about the Big Ten, too? Is it's not the same three that it always is.
No.
It's not Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Mm-mm. It's Oregon, who's in the Pac-12.
Shout out.
It's Ohio State, okay. And then it's my team, our team.
Our team.
Well, you better got some.
No.
You did.
Yeah, I picked them to win.
Indiana. We love Indiana.
We love them.
We love Signetti. We love everything that's going on
all of it.
out there.
All of it.
Out there in Indiana. And what a weekend for him. What a weekend.
I mean, does it get better? Does it get better for the Indiana Hoosiers?
No.
It can.
They trailed for the first time this season. It was 10-0. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about this later because that might have been my lock of the week. It was a shout out. They trailed 10-0. First time they trailed all season. Final score of that game, 41-10.
47-10.
47-10. I'm liking that. I'm a big fan of that.
I mean, how can you not be?
I'm a big fan of that.
They're a wagon. They're blowing everyone out every single week. They're just not playing close games.
They're not.
And I want to get ahead of this. I want to get ahead of what I know some people are going to be saying and what I hope doesn't happen to Indiana when the real rankings start to come out. And I hope, because it's not supposed to be this way, I hope the people in the room don't sit down and are biased against Indiana because of the logo. I don't want that to happen. This team deserves to be ranked definitely in the top 12, definitely in the top 10. If you replace that logo with one of the logos of the teams that going into the season was expected to be a top team in college football, they would at worst be third. Mm-hmm. And they're eighth right now, which, that's still good. But their resume, the way they're playing football, they absolutely deserve to be higher. And I just hope they don't get screwed. That's all I hope. And listen, they're in control of their own destiny. Yeah. They've got 3 games left. It's Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue. Yeah. Obviously, Michigan and Purdue, they're expected to win those games. So you go take care of business like you have all year.
Yep.
And then the Ohio State game, if you win that one, then you're proven. Then you're as close to a proven commodity as you can get in the regular season for a team like Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, part of the argument, too, what I don't want to happen for Indiana is somebody says, well, they haven't played enough good teams, and then they lose to Ohio State, so we're going to keep them out of the playoff. That would be an atrocity of football.
Completely.
Because beating Nebraska 56-7, that is legit. Beating Washington 31-17, who Washington beat USC, like beating Michigan State 47-10, Michigan State lost by a point. And if they beat Michigan pretty handedly, there's no excuse. Even if Ohio State beats them by 2 touchdowns, there's no excuse that they don't come in as at least a 10 seed or 11 seed. Like that's the way I see it. But, man, the Big Ten is interesting right now. And like you said, they control their own destiny because they play Ohio State. And that, funny enough, is like the game of the Big Ten. I mean, Oregon is not going to lose a game in the regular season. They're just not. They're so good.
They're cruising.
They're so good.
They're unbelievable. They're the number one team. They're the number one team in the country.
They're the number one team in the country. And there's a big gap, too, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oregon is there, right?
Yeah.
Oregon's in that game. And again, it's the Indiana-Ohio State game. I'm so happy that Penn State lost. So happy. And everybody that's watching this, I know you didn't get to see my face get animated about it, but what did I say? I said Penn State does not win these kind of games. I'm going to put no faith in them, and I was right. They made it close. There were competitive moments in it. Now, granted, Will Howard's fumble out of the end zone kept them in that game. Like, they got bailed out at a couple spots.
2 turnovers from Will Howard that
the
made
2
the
questionable
score look
ones.
different.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, he threw a pick six in the
on his first throw.
On the first throw. It was 10-0.
Yeah.
Immediately. And they lost. Surprised? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. I'm happy that Penn State lost.
Yeah.
I am, because now they're out of the way. That's the way I see it.
They clear the path for a better finish to the Big Ten.
Yes, and if Penn State gets into the playoff over Indiana,
if they're both 1-loss,
I'm going to lose
that would
it.
be, oh my goodness.
I'm going to lose it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to lose it.
100% lose it.
Lose it.
Just.
Should we just have like a crash
collapse.
out episode if that happens? Of us just breaking everything in this whole room.
Yeah, I'm fine with a full episode.
We drive up to Penn State, kidnap James Franklin. It's chill.
Don't return him until Indiana replaces them.
Until he loses another game. Oh, won't take too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, man, the Big Ten is fun.
It is fun.
It's fun. Oregon in the Big Ten, in my opinion, is awesome.
It's phenomenal.
It's awesome.
It completely changes it.
USC can just go cry in the corner.
USC will get it eventually.
Failed season.
Not a great season. But, like, yeah, it's fascinating. Because Ohio State, I said in the preview, in the faceless preview, that I was concerned about their O-line. Because of injuries.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Josh Simmons, you know, most notably their left tackle. In this game, the O-line answered those questions.
Yeah.
Fully. It was 38 carries, 179 yards. But the way they were running the ball, they were just attacking up the gut, attacking the middle, the interior of that O-line, or I guess of Penn State's D-line. They were playing bully ball. And then that final drive to close it out after which Penn State, I guess, let's get I'll touch on this first, because it'll lead into the final drive. Penn State, twice in this game, inside of the 5-yard line, inside Ohio State's 5-yard line.
I was just going to bring that up.
You come away with 0 points.
0
and
points.
that second time is you do it midway through the fourth quarter. Ohio State gets the ball back, and they never give it back to Penn State. They run the ball 11 straight times, and that's all O-line and physicality.
I loved watching that.
Yeah, and it's incredible, and I was concerned about that, and they fully answered it, and credit to them. And it was 20-13, but what was most impressive to me, I guess you could call it impressive, about the team as a whole. Will Howard, this was his worst game. And in years past, this Ohio State team, if their quarterback, whether it was Justin Fields or CJ Stroud, played his worst game of the season, they would have lost that game.
Yeah.
Because they were much more reliant on that offense.
That's a good point.
But they're just not this year. This defense is crippling. It is suffocating other offenses. They suffocated Penn State, and Penn State had 13 points. 7 of them came off that pick six.
Yeah.
Like, this was all...
Did they score a touchdown?
No.
An offensive touchdown?
No.
They didn't. It was all field goals.
It was 2 field goals. That's all they got. Because this defense is...
Yeah.
Just...
And I think that, too, that, like you're saying, Will Howard not playing his best game, gifting them 7 points, and then fumbling out of the end zone. Like, dude, that game could have easily been 28-3 at halftime.
I mean, it's 2 crippling turnovers.
Yeah, 2 huge turnovers. So what that means is, like, and the fact that they held Penn State to no time, like, Ohio State's a legit team. They are a legit team. And I know they lost to Oregon, but that was
a final drive loss.
That was a final drive loss, and they
Oregon
didn't play their best game, and Oregon is the best team in the country. So I'm really excited to see those. I'm excited to see Ohio State play in the playoff, which is weird for me to say because I'm not an Ohio State fan at all. But this team I like more than I have in previous years because I don't know. I just like the way they beat Penn State. They gave them everything, and then they still beat them. Yeah. I like that.
They really bullied them. And then Indiana. Listen, if Indiana goes out and wins, then it's like, whoa, what is Indiana? Are they legit contenders all of a sudden?
Dude, if Indiana beats Ohio State, then they have. Oh my god. I'm gonna be hyped.
They have to be. Well, I guess
they play in the championship.
They play in the championship, which will determine the ranking. But I mean, listen, we're in for a fun. We're in for
a fun one. All right, touched a good bit on the Big Ten. All right, let's jump into the rundown. So a game that we talked about a little bit in the last episode was Florida Georgia.
Yeah.
Now, I said that Florida basically has no way to win this game. And in the second quarter, it's a tie game, right? And not only is it a tie game, but, like, Florida is throwing punches. And DJ Lagway pulls his hamstring, and then they bring in their third-string walk-on from Yale. Not walk-on, transfer from Yale, Aiden Warner. He's from Winter Park, Florida. Shout out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously not going to work.
No.
Right?
Did not work.
But there's two things we can talk about. One, you could be in the game of, well, Florida would have won had Lagway stayed healthy, which I'm not a fan of playing those games because I just don't like that. If it was the fourth quarter and some crazy stuff happened, then maybe, but it's hard to call it that early. The bigger picture of this, though, is Carson Beck. What is going on with him? What is going on?
I mean, I think very simply, he's not that good.
He's not
that good. And we've seen this happen before.
Dude.
He's a guy, and actually, interestingly enough, and I'll bring up who I remember it happening to not that long ago. Carson Beck came into the season as, if you asked a lot of people, the number one quarterback in college football. He's not.
He was a Heisman favorite.
He was a Heisman favorite. He was probably, I think, if I had to guess, the number one pick in the draft favorite.
Which is,
I would be more surprised. I would be less surprised if Carson Beck goes undrafted than the number one pick in the draft. I think he has a much better chance of going undrafted than being the number one pick in the draft. He's just been terrible for this team. And Georgia fully has a Carson Beck problem.
Yeah.
Like, the rate at which he is turning the ball over right now is just insane. I mean, he threw another 3 picks in this game, which, let me look this up, because this feels like it's been 100 games in a row where he's throwing 3 picks. He did it against Texas, and not all of those picks were his fault, but whatever. He threw 3 picks against Texas. He threw 2 against Mississippi State. Against Auburn, he actually had a clean game against Auburn. Good for him. Point is, he's throwing picks, like he's turning the ball over like it's nothing.
At a big clip.
At a huge clip, and it's killing his team.
It's killing his
and
team.
He's just overall not playing well, like outside of the interceptions. He's just not playing well at all. And he's fully holding this team back. And they're very beatable like this. I mean, listen, I was in the stadium for this game. And you said you don't like people playing the woulda coulda game. Florida would have won this game. I'm telling you, Florida would have won this game. They should have won this game. They were the better team, not just for the quarter and a half that DJ Lagway was in. They were the better team for 4 quarters. They just lost because they didn't have. No offense.
Beck was gifting them interceptions, though. The thing is like it's not like Florida was like he was throwing into triple coverage. He was throwing the ball into triple coverage.
He's a player on Georgia. Those are points against Georgia.
Yeah.
That's like that doesn't.
Yeah.
They played just completely slot. A bad Georgia game doesn't have to be. You don't have to take credit away from Florida because it's a bad Georgia game, which it absolutely was.
Florida's defense played well.
Florida's defense played well, and Florida's offense, when they ran the ball and they were running the ball, they were controlling the game on the ground. Jacoby Jackson and Jaden Baugh are like a legit 1-2 punch.
Which is crazy because they're not even the go-to guys.
Yeah.
Montrell Johnson's hurt.
And then these 2 guys come in and they're performing really well.
Yeah.
They performed really well. Yeah. And it's like, it's just unbelievable.
Lagway was running the ball too.
Lagway was running the ball.
And it was a great combo.
And he just has the juice in his arm. Like, he hit that deep shot.
Man, that pass to Mizell.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what is happening right now?
It was unreal.
The first half was one of the weirdest halves I've ever seen. Also, the amount of injuries in that game was
ridiculous.
Awful.
Florida was...
Dude, the Jacksonville turf, or the grass there, I'm glad they're moving for 2 years because that thing needs to get excavated. Yeah. This happened last year too. But anyways,
no, I mean, listen, there were injuries everywhere. But by the way, this was a 2020 ball game in the fourth quarter, and then Georgia gets the ball back and they drive down and they score a touchdown. And also I didn't even mention the field goal. The Florida field goal attempt.
Oh my God.
That was just a total disaster and completely shifted the momentum. Florida is going to kick a field goal, and the ball just flies like past, and Georgia picks it up, and then Georgia goes out to score.
The snapper missed the snap, and then it went 40 yards behind them, and then it was awful, dude. Florida, every game they play, it's something with the field goal unit, dude.
And like,
I can't, dude. It's so obnoxious.
It was just a disaster, and it was so 2020 ball game. Aidan Warner led a touchdown drive to tie it up in the fourth quarter against the number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs.
That's insane.
It's
that's
insane.
insane.
And then obviously it was 27-20, and then he had another chance to go tied up, and maybe go for 2, go for the win. And then he throws a pick, pretty bad pick, but whatever. Still Aidan Warner at the end of the day.
Bro was not prepared to play.
He was not ready for that.
Bro, when they cut to him on the sidelines, you were at the game, so you didn't see it. When they cut to him on the sidelines, he was just standing there with his helmet on, looking like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I was like, dude, this is hilarious.
Dude.
He was dialed.
I'll tell you what.
What?
There was some fighting going on between Gators fans. Next to me.
About what?
This guy, this like, Gators fan in his 20s, and then the row behind him, it's like this, this Gators fan with this kid. Guy in the 20s says something to the guy with the kid. The guy with the kid slaps him, and then the friend of the guy that gets slapped is like, "Oh, I saw it. I'm going to the police." So he goes to the police. The guy with the kid just gets up and leaves. Kid's just sitting there. Dude just left the kid.
No way.
Like, whoa, what's going on?
No
and
way.
He never returns, by the way.
Bro.
Because just watching the game, this guy had to escape because the cops are coming. That was a whole ordeal. But
bro,
yeah, not great.
That kid's life is gonna suck. That's his father figure.
That was his father.
A guy that slaps a guy younger than him and then dips
great.
on you.
Not great.
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
Not an ideal outcome. Georgia's still number 2.
It was only the second worst injury for the Florida Gators.
Georgia's still number 2.
Georgia is still number 2, which is absolutely ridiculous. And by the way, Georgia fans, that you cannot. This is not a win. This is not a good win. This might as well be a loss.
This is not a good win.
This is not a good win
at all.
To win this game and to celebrate it, I don't know. I don't know how you could do that, but you should not be number 2 whatsoever. Give that spot to Indiana.
At least
give it to Indiana. Why? Just make it a Big Ten, literally a Big Ten, Big 3. All 3 spots should be the Big Ten.
South Carolina needs to be ranked. I've already complained about the AP poll enough, but South Carolina needs to be ranked. It's actually
they should too.
I mean, they have 3 losses, but so does Vanderbilt and Louisville. So,
which on that topic, I think let's get into it. Okay, you mentioned South Carolina and that they should be ranked because they beat Texas A&M. Which
they walloped Texas A&M. We were wrong about that.
We were wrong about that. Listen,
I said that there was a chance that South Carolina was going to win that game.
Yeah.
And also, Le'Veon Moss got injured in the first quarter. South Carolina probably still would have won. Yeah, but, still.
Beamer ball, you called it. I mean, you not called it, but you mentioned.
It's not even Cocktober.
It's not.
It's not even Cocktober, and they're out here ragging on people.
Yeah, I mean, listen. This is impressive. Texas A&M was struggle to say Texas A&M was the number 1 team in the SEC because let's be honest, nobody actually believed they're the best team in the SEC. No. But by rank, they were the top team in the SEC. They were the only undefeated. They're the only team undefeated in SEC play. Now they're not, and there is no team undefeated in SEC play, which I feel like is pretty unusual, pretty shocking, because usually the SEC just has a juggernaut somewhere there. And we thought that would be Texas.
We did.
And then they lose to Georgia.
Yep.
And we know it's not Georgia because how many stinkers can you have? And can you really be a juggernaut with a quarterback like Carson Beck? I don't know.
Georgia, yeah. I mean, they've had a couple questionable games now.
A couple, to say the least.
Kentucky.
LSU could have been them, and then they lost to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to do with the SEC.
I mean, so A&M plays Texas in the last week. That's huge for everybody.
Huge, yes.
It's at A&M. That's important. That's also important, too, because that'll change where things are ranked. I mean, if A&M loses that game, they may not even be in the playoff, which is crazy. They probably will.
I don't think they will be in the playoff.
You don't think so? I mean, because the SEC teams would be Georgia, Texas.
They can't afford another loss.
They have 2 now?
They have 2 now.
Yeah, then they're not going to.
They're already ranked 15.
Yeah, because they lost to Notre Dame in week 1 because they gave it to Connor Wegman.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Marcel Reed didn't make that much of a difference this week.
Still.
But right now, I mean, if I had to put money on one team in the SEC, it still would be Texas. And I've been high on Texas from day one, and I still am. I still think it's Texas and Oregon.
Yeah. I'm still fine with that, too.
I'm not
I know
wavering.
Texas has been skidding, but I think Texas is going to come off this bye week and look good. I think they're going to beat Florida by 4.
they're going to look – I think they're going to look better than even they are because this team just doesn't – again, Florida, Eitan Warner, we already touched it. Eitan Warner, no disrespect, by the way.
No disrespect. Listen, you did not even know you were going to play.
You didn't know you were going to play, and you did lead that touchdown drive in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, bro, I am no disrespect for Shade.
This is not – you are not one of the hated characters. Guy. Yeah, shout out to you. The yellow guy, pretty smart probably. You know what you're doing.
Tennessee plays Georgia this weekend.
Tennessee plays Georgia. That is huge.
I mean, that'll make up because if Tennessee beats them, now they're in the spot for the title game too, along with A&M. Well, Texas is 3-1 in the conference. How are they going to decide who's going to be in the championship game if there are multiple teams with one loss?
It's just going to have to be tiebreakers.
Yeah. Yawning? He was working. He was working hard.
Listen.
He's being a wizard.
I was being what some might call a financial genius.
You ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? It's based on him.
It is, loosely. It's loosely based
not
on
the drugs part.
No crimes. Just
throwing.
All right. Okay.
Anyways, back on topic. Yeah, the SEC is interesting too. I mean, I knew A&M was going to drop a game at some point. It was either now or was in the SEC.
They're not going to be Texas.
I don't think they are either.
So they would have lost that game anyways. So
big claim. Just throwing it out there, man.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to stake my claim on Texas A&M losing to Texas.
Bama plays LSU this weekend too. That's
Bama,
a big.
We don't care about Bama.
And
yet they're ranked 11th.
Yeah, which is crazy to me.
Shout out to their people.
Makes no sense. Watch Oklahoma go into Death Valley and beat LSU.
Listen, Oklahoma, they did their thing on against Maine.
Dub.
And by the way, the SEC team we haven't mentioned yet scored 63 points.
Yeah.
This weekend, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson Dart threw 6 touchdowns, 515 yards. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Something to keep an eye on.
But they're 3-2 in the SEC. There are so many teams ahead of them that have a better argument.
Yeah,
bro. Losing to LSU's not a problem in overtime to me. Losing to Kentucky's inexcusable.
Oh, it's inexcusable.
Inexcusable. And if that's the game that keeps you out of the playoff, I don't have a problem with it. I don't.
That's fine.
I would, but I don't.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, listen, they've got Georgia this week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who does?
Ole Miss.
When does Tennessee play Georgia?
Tennessee plays Georgia.
I was dead wrong about that.
Tennessee plays Georgia
the following week.
Yeah.
Damn, Georgia's going through a gauntlet.
Georgia's got some games.
I think Georgia will beat Ole Miss pretty handedly, to be honest with you. We'll talk about that more.
We'll see.
My bad. Tennessee, 2 weeks. But still, dude, going from Ole Miss to Tennessee is tough.
Especially after a Florida team.
Is it at... It's at Athens when they play Tennessee, right?
Tennessee's at Athens, and then they go to Ole Miss. To Oxford. So Georgia's got some action ahead of them. So we'll see.
They could drop another game, and then it's interesting, and then it's Texas and whomever.
So right now it's pretty muddied.
Yeah.
We don't know at all.
We don't know.
Speaking of muddied, another conference that's just
the Big Ten's the only one that's being cool.
Big Ten's being cool.
Shout out to Big Ten.
Yeah, shout out
to Big 12 is a mess too.
Big 12 is. We're not going to touch the Big 12.
We're not touching the Big 12. It's just owned by BYU.
Yeah, BYU, Jake Retzlaff, we love you. The ACC, however,
I'm not a fan.
That's muddied.
I don't like it.
Listen, we thought Clemson would be the challenger for Miami in the ACC. And then they go out and they lose to Louisville. And now, is there only one team could be standing in Miami's way?
I don't even... This is my problem with the ACC. We talk about the Big Ten and the SEC. Those games are fun. The ACC, every week, it's SMU just casually destroying a team. No big deal. It's Miami losing and then winning at the end.
Yeah.
It's Clemson being overhyped and then losing. It's Louisville barely losing games. It's Pitt being... It's just a mess. I hate it. I'm glad that SMU destroyed Pitt because now we can get Pitt out of the equation.
Yeah.
That was obnoxious when people were like, oh, Pitt, blah, 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 blah. Notice we never talked about them on the show. Why? Smart. Anyways, moving forward. SMU's a good team. SMU could beat Miami. Now, I'm not saying they will. However, they could.
I mean, Cal could have been Miami.
Dude.
So who knows? Anyone could beat Miami.
Virginia Tech should have beat Miami.
Yeah, Virginia Tech could have done it. The problem is Miami just hasn't lost.
They paid the refs. That's true. SMU's last 3 games, Boston College, Virginia, Cal. So they haven't lost the ACC. The only one that stands in their way is Boston College. And I think they'll pace Boston College personally. Like, I don't think they're going to struggle with that. So then it's going to be Miami and SMU. And SMU could legitimately become the ACC champion.
They could.
Which is
insane.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, you think about this program. This is literally the death penalty program. And now they can be possibly ACC champs. And by the way, this is such an interesting story if it is SMU Miami. Because what is SMU? It's Rhett Lashley at head coach.
Yeah. Miami's
former OC. And it's a ton of guys who came from Miami with Lashley or to follow Lashley.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Miami against Miami.
Dude,
I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
If those teams play each other, which I think they will because I don't think Miami's going to lose a game either.
No. They're just going to keep riding that offense.
Yeah. SMU, I mean, everybody talks about Miami's offense. SMU is scoring 40 points per game, which is 8th in the country. They're running the ball well. They're throwing it for 250 yards. Like, their defense is only allowing 28.8. Like, dude, I'm telling you, SMU could shock the world.
Could be SMU.
SMU's only losses to BYU.
Listen, if you are rooting against Miami in the ACC, your only hope is SMU.
It's keep it a buck.
Say that.
And Clemson, you know what? I was never sold on Clemson, and we never changed our prediction.
We never really talked
about
about
Clemson
Clemson
because they got destroyed by Georgia, and then they just kind of beat a bunch of teams that they were supposed to beat.
And they looked good.
They looked good. Like, I'm not saying they didn't. I mentioned this. I did not go deep into it, but I said that Louisville has the opportunity to be like close in that game. I didn't dwell on it, but I just like if you look at the way that Louisville has played in games, they score a lot, and the games that they've lost, they lose by very slim margins. And Georgia exposed a lot of weaknesses in Clemson. Granted, that was week 1. Okay, so I get it, but I'm not surprised Louisville won. I'm just surprised at how handedly they won. Like, that game was over.
It was
fast.
over fast. Yeah.
Fast.
You check the score and it was just Louisville up.
Yeah, and you're just
quickly.
Like, wow.
It's like, wow, okay.
So yeah, I mean the ACC is.
Finished.
Do you think that Clemson will still make the playoff?
No, I don't.
Two-loss team?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. Because I wouldn't pick them to beat Miami anyways, and that. But even if they make the championship game, they're a 3-loss team.
We need to do it. We need to do an updated bracket.
I think post regular season, pre-championship games.
Okay.
That'll be a good break period.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
We'll get when it's all said and done. We'll get our things out there, and then we'll have a little competitiveness about whose bracket does better. I'm excited, man.
Wow.
My initial bracket, it's funny. I was right in some places, and I was so wrong in others. Like, I had Arizona in there, dead wrong. I didn't put Bama in there or Penn State.
Yeah.
So I was right about that. I had Missouri in there.
Penn State's still gonna make it, by the way.
I had Missouri in there.
That was.
I had USC in there.
I had USC.
USC, that's their
USC's
fault.
That is their fault. That's all in USC.
Listen,
I had Kansas State in there, and
they're dwindling.
They had a game this weekend.
Fast. They're dwindling fast.
They hit the Houston button. Not great. You don't want to lose to Houston, but
so yeah, I mean the ACC, to my understanding, should by every way possible be Miami SMU. That's going to be a game. That's going to be whatever the over is. Take it.
Oh, 100%. Miami's not stopping anyone, and nobody's stopping
can
Miami.
Play some defense, but still.
But you're not stopping. Yeah, Miami's not stopping anyone. SMU scoring a ton, and nobody's stopping Miami.
Yeah.
So that should be a game. But really, if we're being totally honest, maybe disband college football except for the Big Ten perhaps this season, because the rest of you guys are kind of just discombobulated.
The SEC is still fun. I mean, we haven't talked a lot about the Big 12. Colorado can make the playoffs.
Colorado can make the play. That will be a topic.
We wrote off Colorado after they got pieced by Nebraska.
We did. We mentioned them again recently about making the bowl game.
Yeah,
and
they quietly made a bowl game.
Yes,
and now they're real. And so now we're going to talk about them.
We will talk.
They don't play they don't play a ranked team the rest of the season.
No, they're absolutely real. Listen, Deion Sanders has some contract incentives. He's excited about those.
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
You want to check out a sick article?
Yeah, go read the contract. This is what we do in our free time. You know, we look through coaches' contracts. So
we are
just as part of our
insane researchers.
We are insane researchers.
Like unbelievable. We know everything.
Everything.
Literally everything.
Everything.
And that's why.
Listen.
We hit both of our locks.
That's why we hit both of our locks.
Folks, you heard that right. You heard that right. Both of them. Both of them.
Is that so?
I'm keeping my goose egg. Okay, that's my goal. Keep the lock of the weeks perfect. And somebody
don't want to name names.
Is 500?
Someone's 500.
Someone's 500. Someone is 500.
2-game win streak.
2-game win streak.
Wow.
We're rolling.
We are.
Now, if you've bet money on what we've done, if you bet what I've said, you're loving life. And now you can't blame him for being poor.
No.
You're even.
You're even.
So you're
500.
It's chill.
Depends how much you bet. I hope you bet more on the winning picks.
I'll touch on mine first because mine is simple. Okay, wait, hold on. Why was Indiana an 8-point favorite over Michigan State? Like, really? Like, that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Disrespectful. Like you said, they're disrespecting the logo. If that's Ohio State.
Oh, that's not.
Bro, that's a 14.5-point spread, 16.5-point spread. I saw 8 points, and I was like, are these people crazy?
Yeah.
Now, Michigan State goes up 10-0, and I'm like, oh, maybe they're not going to cover. I don't have it. And then it's 47-10.
Yeah.
So put some respect on Signetti, bro.
Please do.
Just do it.
Just do it.
They're a top 10 team now, and there's no argument about that.
Mm-mm.
There's none. We've talked about it. Indiana's going to play Ohio State, and that's it. And then that's that conversation. But until then, put some respect.
Please do.
On my Hoosiers.
Mm.
So I'm still perfect. I'm loving life.
A little 6-0.
Dude. I mean, the wallet's feeling nice, dude. That's all I'm saying.
It's gotta be
heavy.
Can only imagine.
Heavy. Like when I hit my number on roulette when I was in North Oklahoma. Shout out.
Hey,
no, South Oklahoma. My bad. South Oklahoma. You'll figure it out.
Apologies to the North Oklahoma team.
All right. Let's talk about yours because yours.
Mine was a sweater.
Yours was a sweat.
And it should not have been.
It should not have been.
Because for any that don't know, I picked Oregon minus 14.5 over Michigan. Now, this game was comfortably in Oregon's hands. The win was.
There was never a doubt.
It was never a doubt.
I mean, it was 7-7, I think. But
it was
in the first
quarter. It was 7-7. And then from there,
then Oregon scored with like a minute into the second quarter. And then there was just never.
And then they were rolling. And it was 28-10, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I didn't need Oregon to win. I mean, I knew they were going to win.
Yeah.
That was easy. I needed them to win by at least 15 points. Now, with about 30 seconds in this game, Oregon was up 14 points.
Yeah.
It's 31-17. And I'm sitting there. I'm looking at my phone because I'm in Everbank Stadium.
And I'm texting him. I'm in Everbank Stadium. I'm texting him. I'm like, oh, dude, you got a sweater going on right now.
I am like, I cannot believe that I'm going to lose over half a point. I was really hurt. I was really hurt because they were going to. I just cannot believe it. And then, because they always do, they have this entire year, the Oregon Ducks come through for me, specifically for me. They knew I needed this to reach 500.
They knew
and
it.
They get that score. And it's 38-17, and it's a 21-point game. And I'm like, wow, I cannot believe it. I'm gonna win. I hit. My lock hit. I'm 500.
You're him.
And it was just a moment of euphoria because this was a win snatched from the jaws of defeat for me.
Yeah.
This would have been a loss for anyone else. Oregon had absolutely no reason to go score there. It was 25 seconds left.
I love it.
In the fourth quarter, but they said, nah, we're going to score here. We're going to cover this spread.
For my boy.
We're going to do it for the lock of the weekend for everyone that bet along on the pick because they knew what was riding on it. They knew. They didn't want the GDP of their country to go down because they decided not to score.
No.
So Oregon, listen, I'm not going to pick against you at any point for the rest of the year. I think that much has been established. I'm all in on you. I have been all in on you. And I love you. Thank you, Oregon. Shout out Atticus Sappington. I told you I do.
We can't keep doing this.
That's twice in 3 episodes.
We're going to get copyrighted.
We are going to get
You sound just like
we gotta we gotta pick a new song to go at.
We will.
It'll just come naturally.
Gangnam Style.
Ooh.
Should be next lock of the week punishment, but we're not gonna miss another. So
we're not gonna miss another.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like we're not gonna have any more lock of the week content. He's got his ears pierced.
If you're complete, that should be good enough for you.
That should be good. Oh, this is the first time they're seeing it. If they're not looking at the phone.
Is it?
Yes. Look at that.
Go look at the phone though. Go look at the video.
Go look at the video
on the Instagram and the TikTok at 1 foot in, I believe.
Well, the Instagram is 1footin_pod.
Okay.
And the TikTok is 1.foot.in.pod.
That's right. Go find it. You can find it. You can find it pretty easy.
Ain't hard to find me.
It ain't hard to find us. And the video's on there. It's a great minute and a half. Just take your time. But yeah,
pure professionalism.
It is pure
sleek.
It's some are calling, many call the artist who did it. And that's what they are, an artist. Ultimately, at the end of the day.
That's what it is. It's not a piercer. It's an artist.
Yeah. They're artists. And this person specifically is a real artist. And the streets were saying this is the LeBron James of ear piercing, or the Michael Jordan, however you like it. The Tom Brady. There's no debate there. So, it was a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
We've already touched all that. Go watch the video.
Go watch the vid. All right. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That is it. What an episode. That was a good episode.
Friday will be a good one. Friday will be a good one. We're going to have a lot to preview.
We thought we were going to have Tennessee, Georgia to preview, but turns out we have Ole Miss, Georgia to preview.
Sorry for being stupid. It's not my fault. It's my fault. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I mean, dude, this season is wrapping up. I'm excited for the content that we're gonna produce. Dude,
wow.
We might have to do some virtual ones too.
We might have to.
I might have to go back to Vanderbilt Stadium, dude. Shout out that. Shout out that. That one was lit. We had a hurricane. It's chill. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will catch you back here on Friday morning. Be sure to look at our socials as well for awesome, amazing, exclusive content. We'll catch you in the next one.
See you.